Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with Luca with his movie Bodies. Let's take a look at the clip.
¿Hablas inglés, amigo?
Tell him to close the door.
La puerta.
Luca, thank you for being part of the New Filmmakers Los Angeles family.
Thank you for having me. It's amazing.
That's it now, you're stuck with us, all right? No, seriously, thank you so much for bringing just not only you, but also your film. I've got so many questions. It was such a brilliant film. For those that haven't seen it, tell us about the story.
Yeah, it's a story about these two LAPD officers. Our protagonist is a Latino LAPD officer, and they get called up to this house because, you know, this neighbor had called the police saying, you know, they heard screaming, and they show up to this house, knock on the door. This guy opens, and he doesn't speak any English, and there's some kind of fishy things going on. And as we make our way through the house with our protagonist, he kind of discovers, I don't know how much in spoiler territory you want to go here, but he discovers something that makes him really choose between his duty and his culture, and shifts not only his perspective, but the audience's perspective as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't take a breath with watching it. Like, I mean, I realized I was like, Danny, breathe. But most importantly, because, you know, live in a place like Los Angeles, you know, we're known to, you know, kind of police brutality and what it's like right now, especially for immigrants as well, and how painful and how heightened it really is at the moment, to a level I think that we haven't seen in recent times. So I need to say, asking you where the inspiration came from, but where did you decide to like turn this idea into a film? When was that kind of moment, and especially this particular story? Because I mean, I think there's a lot of people in the room last night that could have really resonated with it.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to, this was the first movie that I made in partnership with LMU, my university. Yeah. I'm doing my master's in direction there, and I knew that I wanted to cause an effect throughout, not only at the end. And so I said, I want to make something about perspective. I want to make a movie that challenges perspective, and I said I needed to choose a subject that is relevant nowadays, and that's why we decided to tackle immigration, which, you know, we shot this film last year. It was relevant then, it's super relevant now, and it'll be continuously relevant, you know, and not only here, but everywhere. So I knew that I wanted to tackle this subject and show the humanity from the characters and the whole situation, but also tackle perspective in a big way.
You definitely did that. Like, yeah. Really, I think that it was a painful watch, because it's actually not just a story about these characters that you developed and created, but it's also truth, and and actually there's nothing about what you showed that isn't actually happening, and with this particular story. But there's a choice of what obviously this LAPD officer, you know, made, and just also the fear that is a line right now for so many.
Yeah.
Developing these characters, I really loved all of the characters that you got, because they all really showed the intensity of the moment and the height of the kind of the conflict of what was happening in the scene. How did you go about casting this? Because they all delivered so on point.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a long process. Funny enough, our protagonist, you know, I started casting earlier on, and Alonso, which was our wonderful actor that, you know, we worked with, he was the first one to submit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, this is really good. So we're gonna have a ton of choices, you know, let's see. And then it was like 2 or 3 months of just looking and always with him in the back of my head. And then at the end, I said, I don't know why I'm still looking. Like, I don't know. Like, he was so good, but being the first person, you're never gonna go like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
that's what happened at the end. I was like,
Isn't that crazy?
what am I even looking for?
Yeah.
It's him, you know?
Yeah.
And with casting Trent, the American officer, was great. His backstory, you know, his father was a cop as well, and so he brought that intensity to everything. And same with Celine, the girl, she's amazing, and she also submitted earlier on. But it was funny. It was a long process, but funnily enough, the people in the beginning were the ones that ended up getting the part.
I think, you know, it's really, really painful to know that, you know, people are literally hiding in their closet to, you know, over just to the fact of where they were born, where they live, and where they decide to reside at, and how critical this has become, even the subject of being criminal when people are just trying to live their life and a better life than their existing circumstances, or just, you know, and it's so tough and there's so much dynamics to it. And I was really then kind of haunted by the idea of, like, you know, just kind of the fact that obviously they've got to hide from this situation, and that this one person could change the course of this family's entire life.
Yeah.
And then there's the context of just like what I was kind of alluding to last night on the stage, which is bodies.
Yeah.
You know, and that title really stuck with me because I really don't feel that these people often, or we don't talk about it in the media, that these are people, these are families, these are hearts, these are people trying to just get through a day, not trying to hurt anybody. What was the kind of dynamic around the sort of title of the film, but also just, you know, kind of just the stakes in which was set too?
It's funny because when I decided on the title, I was like, oh, this I really like it. I'm gonna go with this one. And then a lot of people were like, I don't know, I'm not sure. And I was so adamant about keeping it because it does evoke a sensation, right? And it's going back to perspective, you know, the perspective that certain people have of you know, undocumented families that come here looking for a better life. They see them as numbers, you know, as just bodies, not even humans, and the humanity. That's
and we've been
everyone.
there before in World Wars, so, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And
Same
so that coldness of this title that, you know, marries with the suspenseful you know, adventure that we go through, I think really it was made to stick with people and to keep that thought of they're more than that. They're more than bodies. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the
absolutely.
thought behind that.
Yeah, I think that was just really, you know, very, sadly, a very smart title, you know, because I think that's often how it's perceived, especially people that have this abuse of power over the top of them and have this ability to change someone's life and the course of their life. I mean, what was interesting is about how long how long you took to shoot this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, tell us how, and tell us the secrets of how. Like, geez.
Yeah, we shot this in a day and a half.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think the whole thing ended up being around, I think, 13 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, before cutting everything that needed to be cut out, it was like 15. So we did end up shooting around 15 pages in like a day and a half. So it was tough. It was very tough. I looked at my DP, Guga, who has worked with me before, and I told him, we're gonna have to figure out how to do this because we're gonna have the way I've written and the shots that I want. You know, we're not doing long runners. We're not doing anything of the sort because I wanted every shot to mean something. And so we needed to find a way. And I told him we're going to have to light for the scene. We're not going to be able to light for the shot because that's going to take, you know, a long time. And we made a decision earlier on to stick with a Steadicam all throughout. And if you want a locked off shot, you don't move to sticks. You just stand there, you know, and if we could do a lot with the camera just being in that Steadicam. And so that helped us to get every angle, every shot, every coverage really quick and efficiently because we didn't have to change that much for the lighting in the scene. And I told the actors, you know, this is going to be something different.
Yeah.
You're not going to have too much time in between shots, and it'll feel more like theater than anything else. I think that was good.
No, you did a great. I mean, you
Yeah.
did fantastic, honestly, with it, really. And you know, I mean, this is amazing. Take a story on like this, especially. I mean, you know, still studying right now, and
Yeah.
you know, as well, which is amazing. And I'm glad you made it at your school. Your school just, you know, really, really great. That's a great alumni from your school over the years. What have you learned from making this particular film, and kind of a second from a directorial filmmaker perspective, and then what have you taken from your audience? What have they kind of given you in reaction to the film? So sort of from a director and from an audience perspective, what have you taken from this project?
I'll start with the audience first. I think, you know, as we make every movie, we learn, and we, you know, I look back at this and it's, I'm super proud of the team, and I love what we were able to do and with such limited resources and such little time. But I still look at things and I'm like, I wish I had done that, or I wish I had done this. But something I really was battling against in this film was the pacing of everything, and how much to reveal, and you know, for it not to feel slow, but at the same time keep the interest of the audience. So watching it with, you know, with an audience, I was able to see, and even had some people in the back even like kind of talk throughout the thing, like, oh my God, and what, you know. And so I was able to see it from, because I've seen this thing like 50 times, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to see it through their, you know, their eyes, and it was fun to see where the pacing kind of was either stretched or was too thin, or, you know. So I was able to learn, you know, a lot about my movie through them. And in a directorial standpoint, I think I learned a lot. This film taught me so much about how little you need to do to convey something. With, you know, when you're starting to make movies, and, you know, even before going to film school, you look at these actors you look up to, and you pull up the scenes, and it's so intense, and you say, oh, that's how I have to direct, that's how, you know, an actor may think that's how I have to act. And really limiting the expressions, and letting the audience reflect their feelings upon the character's face and what they're doing. It really taught me how to find that level of us understanding what the character is going through, but at the same time keeping it, you know, not going over. And
yeah, absolutely.
That taught me a lot.
I mean, that's a good advice as well for our audience, for anyone, just to kind of, you know, those pivotal moments where, you know, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this differently this time, or I learned from this particular point. Because I mean, we're all learning. I think we're always a student of this crazy industry, aren't we? So
100%.
it's how it is. Where are you taking us next? Where is the story that you're going to take us next to?
Oof, I'm currently developing a feature with Union Films, a production company based in London.
Yeah.
It's sci-fi. It's funny. It has a lot of similarities to this. And so I was able to, you know, actually write something and shoot bodies, and watch it back, and now extract the things that I feel are most powerful from it, and insert it into this feature that is, you know, much larger and tackles the same sort of thing, but in a more global perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's a global experience. This is
100%,
you know, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm currently writing that,
Amazing.
writing many other feature scripts, and trying to just keep on going, and still have, I think, a year at LMU, and I'm going to shoot my thesis, which is a concept for the feature, later this year. So that will be very interesting, and I'm excited about it, truly.
Yeah, no, well, I'm excited for you, and just make sure you just keep bringing more movies in our direction as well.
Of course,
'cause, absolutely. But what, and for where you are in your career this far, and, you know, and being a student, and, you know, I'm sure there's people out there that would love to kind of follow in footsteps and get into school, or get into those, you know, next early steps. Like, how do you as a creative person keep yourself mentally, you know, what are the things that you attribute to need in your sort of creative filmmaking life?
Well, first off, just consume as much as you can. Not only, you know, watching the films, but I read it while I'm watching, and I read it after, and see how that translates. But, you know, film school is a great step. You meet so many people. You have opportunities that you never imagined. But it's also important to keep doing stuff outside I feel like
Live a life
it's
too.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, but it really make even more movies outside of film
Yeah.
school is what I'm saying. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've you don't have that many films to make in film school. I think every film school in the world is like that. It's
Totally.
not too many. So having free time in the summer or having free time wherever and making films outside of that
Absolutely.
curriculum and
Utilize
learning
time.
more and keep writing, at least for writer directors.
Yeah.
And yeah, keep making movies even in your free time, because
Good.
that's where you learn. You learn from experience. It's
You do.
hard to learn too much about it in class.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
and I think it's filmmaking school every day when you're on a set, isn't it? So
Yeah.
whether you're on, in school or not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. And I hope those little Brits teach you at the uni, and I hope the Brits look after you over there when you're
Yeah.
making that film. That's super exciting.
It is.
But Luca, listen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
for bringing important film here at a very important time. I know that the audience really was so happy just to have your film here, because a lot of people feel unseen, a lot of people are scared, and it's really nice when you're making a film that is so important to so many people. So I hope that you continue to share bodies to many places, because it's a very important film for our country and many other countries too.
And thank you for having it.
Yeah.
It means a lot, and I was excited to share it to more people and show the humanity, under the situation. It's showing real families, real situations, real humans beneath the headlines, the numbers, and this film was. It's all about showing humanity, not pointing fingers at anyone, but just showing and making people remember that it's real human beings underneath all the talk,
Absolutely.
all the gossip, all the whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to show it to more people and to get that message across. So it means
Absolutely.
a lot, truly. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you. We're ready for your next film, okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Look,
you.
everybody, buddies.